Hey, it's Tim Lundquist. This is the locally built green and healthy home stack, which we go into an overview on how the actual homes are constructed and built locally. You know, currently, this is a typical rural project, signed for a rural project out here in Delaware County. And lots are basically just divided up, and then houses are sold and built on an as needed basis. There's no real correlation between them, and there's certainly no community between them. This is really out of the land planning stack, but it's an important context to understand going into the house business that this house is a Toll Brother house from down in Dutchess County. I mean, it could really be from anywhere in the country. It's not designed for rural country living that we enjoy in upstate New York. And that's one of the real goals of our work, is to design houses that really do work in this beautiful rural setting. And, very often the actual house that is built, production houses on a national level, are basically toxic and bad for the health of people inside. It's primarily because of the use of vinyl and chemicals in the finishes and various glues and processes. And so we really are trying to engineer a house that's actually healthy for you. So we're actually introducing what we call a new farmhouse inspired style. And these slides, the next 5 or 6 slides, are examples of work that have been done in our area in the Northeast over the last 8 or 9 years. These are all new houses. And I'll just take you through it gently as we go through. You can read the descriptions to the right. This is a house in the Catskills that picks up that honest feeling, kind of the materials. They were frugal, and they're talked about that houses were of necessity were built of simple and clean lines. This is a house that was a very, very traditional form with a big porch and a screen porch. One of the things about screen porches and porches is that they're substantially less to construct than the heated interior spaces. And alas, the national home building industry is building 4,000-foot houses in Columbia County that are heated without even any porches on them. So this inside-outside relationship with the rural setting is a very important part of our work together. Here's a house that we've always enjoyed. It was built in 2001, but this is a house that looks like it was built over several generations. And you can do that now with by just careful design and proportioning. And this is a house that's, skip that slide. This is a house that we really just love. This is George Smith, our close friend, built this house. That is all local materials, local wood, local siding, everything else. And my question is, can't we have a house that is that inspired in terms of simple, elegant design? I think we can. So what we did when we work in Columbia County, we actually go around the neighborhood and we actually inventory the sizes and the basic shapes and the looks of the houses in our area. And then we try to create, and we did create, these planning models based on historic homes in Columbia County. We use this in all of our planning for stewardships in Columbia County, for instance. Here it is, the patterns, the 6 different houses, and then how we use them in landscape. But these 3-dimensional models are used from the very, very preliminary planning for any of our communities. Here's an example of a pattern that we discovered as we started to put. We started out with this idea that the big house doesn't need to be that big, as long as you can have if you want to have a larger house, then to keep it smaller and more appropriate in the landscape, like the older historic models, we said, well, then let's add a garage with a studio above it, or a guest studio, or a writer's cabinet, creative. And then when we started assembling these in landscapes around this courtyard, we discovered that we were really kind of reinventing the farmhouse pattern, which is a very, very deeply resonant pattern for customers, and a wonderful way of living in the country. Then we took that to a house that we designed as the balanced courtyard house. This house is really designed to compete with the market-priced production houses that are brought in on trailers and are done in the traditional manufacturing because of its scale. And it's all referring to this interior courtyard to the south. So it's a much more inside-outside, transparent experience than living in a traditional tract home. We've ended up with 3 basic styles in Columbia County and the Central Hudson Valley, and they are the historic Hudson Valley models, the Terre Vitale, which is finish for a healthy house, and the balanced courtyard home are the three basic approaches we're taking. So give you just a second to take a look at some of those details. All right. And now we're just going to take you quickly through the idea that pre-manufacturing. The basic hull of the house is built in controlled conditions at a shop in Schoharie County now, but eventually we plan on building one of these facilities in Columbia County. So they pre-panelized. The second picture shows the sheathing having been applied to the sides of the panels, and then they're routing out the window openings there. There's the inventory windows. They're actually installing the windows in these panels, and that's important to look at it when we look at the next slide. So this is all being done in the horizontal controlled environment. There's also a woodworking shop that does stairways, basic architraves, entryways, door trim, things like that. Then in the second picture, you see that they're actually loading the panels vertically on the truck, which is unique. And it's a truck with a crane on it. There it is leaving the factory. The next set of slides will talk to how the crane assembles it in the field. So in one day, you're going to see the results from a morning start. The crew unstraps it's a fixtured truck that is designed for carrying this with a built-in crane, and the driver is also the crane operator. And the fourth picture, the first on the bottom row, shows the actual floor system being installed on the deck. That's the middle picture. And within an hour and a half, they're actually putting the walls with the windows in them on the first floor deck. Another hour and a half after that, they're actually putting the entire perimeter walls have been done, and they're now putting the interior walls that include all of the framing for doors and interior doors and all of that. And then once again, the crane picks up the second floor and puts the second floor on that deck, and then the gable ends, and then in the next 2 days, we sheathe in the roof and weather tight it. So the entire house is weather tight in 3 days. This is a 3D model of the recently completed house for the Howards up in Claverack, New York, up on top of a hill in Philmont. And it is an example of our approach in the sense under the Terre Tallow brand to have a inside-outside. Here is a 2,000-foot house with a 450-foot square foot porch with a sleeping balcony. So in the summertime, this house expands into a very luxurious inside-outside wonderful experience house. Just in general, this system contains it saves tremendous amount of material waste, less building site disturbance, 50% less time to build it, and we have cisterns, much less that gather rainwater for toilets and for gardening use, dramatically less heating and cooling, and rational designs to maximize the light. Designed and engineered for rural country living in a 100-year structure is what we're planning on these houses being able to last. So this completes the pre-manufacturing and field assembly, and then there's referred to the soon-to-becoming home building science stack for craft field finishing and mechanical systems. The point being that once that hull is up and weathered in very quickly, there is this carefully orchestrated process of the building trades, mechanicals, and craftspeople to finish the houses and install all the systems. Once again, very efficiently done, but done with a very, very high level of craft and finish. Well, thanks for looking at this stack, and look forward to working with you.